Content Catchup.
Darcy, thanks heaps for taking the time to chat to us. No, you must be pretty busy. Basic background of this is Barks and I, while we were up in the hub, we thought it would be really cool to start a podcast where people from our industry can get together and chat about like what they do, because we thought there's a lot of like really cool content creators out there that don't really get the chance to spruik their work as much or like explain the reasons why they're doing things. So that's where this kind of came from. You'll be our third official guest. We
Congrats.
had Michelle from Sydney, and the creator Scott from Highlights Club, which is a little page on Instagram. So I guess we wanted to have you on because you're in this like really cool position where you're a creator and an athlete, and have probably done a little bit of both, of working in sport for a brief time, but also do a lot of cool stuff for all the brands you're working on. So we thought we'd chat around that and kind of get an insight into your creative process and how you go about it.
Yeah, cool. I'm excited because I feel like this is like I never really talk about this stuff, and it's usually just a passing comment or whatever. So to sort of think about it a bit more and like figure out why I like it and that sort of thing.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
We'll kick things off, Das. We like to do a bit of it's sort of a quick fire, but we'll title it the 1 minute brief. I think it sounds a bit better than the quick fire. So it's just a way to get to know our guests. So let's get straight into it. What is your nickname or favorite nickname?
Ooh, favorite nickname. I guess I get called like D-hole, which I don't think is great. So that's probably not my favorite.
Can we know why?
I think I actually brought it on myself because I changed my Facebook name to Darshole as a joke, and then people have gone from there. So if anyone wants to find me on Facebook, that's my Facebook.
No drama. No dramas, D-hole.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah, it's probably not the best. A few people around the club call me DV3. I think that was coined by Half, so he rolls with that. But apart from that, just Das is about it. I tried to get Big D going for a while, but that didn't take off.
These sound all like self-given, or try to like force it upon yourself. For those that don't know, job title?
I'd say I usually say I'm a graphic designer, but then I'm trying to, sometimes I say I'm just a creative, but I guess that's very, very loose and sounds almost spiritual. But
it sounds intriguing. I like it. Speaking of creative, do you have a favorite bit of content you've worked on?
I guess. What content have I liked? I really enjoyed the one of the last briefs I did was for Mulan, and that was just fun, like trying to link in things from my own childhood and things I like about the movie and things that relate to my life now. So I enjoy doing that. But yeah, usually the sillier the content, the more I enjoy doing it.
Love it. And our favourite one, a non-work skill you rate yourself most in?
Well, I guess I really enjoy like making things. So like I make giant costumes, which I think is a bit obscure, but I've been doing it for a little while now, so I've built up a collection. And I like doing like giant snacks, so like a Big M or like a Kit Kat or a picnic bar that you can wear.
Where did that come from? Because you've done a few on your Instagram, and where did the inspiration to start making big stuff? Like, why?
I don't know. I actually don't know why. I think I first made like a giant McDonald's chips for like an art project in school. Like I think I was in year 10 or 11, and I was like, fast food's taking over the world. So I made like this giant thing of chips, but I couldn't wear it. And then I think maybe I made the Big M first. I just thought it was just a Halloween party and I wanted to give it a go. Like I've always loved packaging and lettering and paper craft. So that kind of like combined those things into something fun. And like I just think when you see people in costumes, it's just so funny. So it was just combining things.
I mean, I'll say it for everyone here, but we always enjoyed following along your Instagram and seeing what next big costume is gonna come out next. You touched on Mulan as a favorite bit of content you've worked on recently. Is there something outside of where you've received a brief to do something that you've worked on that you've just really, really enjoyed?
Something outside of
so something like outside of like the Nike stuff or the Mulan stuff that you've done, something a bit more original that you've posted up on your Instagram that you've enjoyed working on.
Almost like, sorry to cut in, almost like if we were scrolling Darcy Vescio's feed, your random bits of content like the Bunnings ad, like the real silly things for like a Darcy Vescio special.
Yeah, actually the Bunnings ad was really fun. So one of my teammates, Moa, got a job at Bunnings over COVID period, and I just straight away, like, the idea of Moa working at Bunnings, like, she's so funny, and I think she'd be great with customers, and someone you'd like to see in the store. Like, she'd put a smile on your face, but just the idea of her in the work boots and everything made me laugh. So I was trying to learn how to do like the floating head, and like I can't really do it very well, but I just tried, and I'd gotten an iPad recently, so I was like, I can do the sketches and stuff, and then just sort of put together my own Bunnings ad with a really bad voiceover, trying to be the Bunnings guy and be Mua and not be offensive. But I found that really fun. A few puns in there for the products. That was a fun little project.
I'd highly recommend, we'll pop it up on our channels, but if you ever got a spare 15 minutes, just scroll your Instagram, because there's so much random and comedy sort of pieces out there, and it's very fun to sort of have a look at. But on the back of that, I don't know, I've seen you're obviously graphic designer, I've seen you edit video, I've seen you play the role of host, comedian, actor, as you said. You like to, I think I've even seen stuff you filmed. You do a bit of everything. So I think it's fair to say you've got a knack for content. Is it also fair to say that, I guess, content creation is a passion of yours?
Yeah, I think I was thinking about this, and if I think back to even high school, like, I think if there was ever an option to do a creative piece, or if we had to give an oral presentation, like, I'd really come to life. Like, I loved sort of like, I guess, responding to the project in the most visual and entertaining way as possible. Like, I remember there was one project where I dressed up as, like, pretended to be like Ellen DeGeneres, and like interviewed myself up on screen, so like pre-recorded all my answers, and just like tried to time it perfectly, so I was like talking cross live to myself, and just doing silly stuff like that. I think I just enjoy all aspects of the project as well, like being able to film something and like cut it together. Like, obviously I definitely don't have the same skills as you two guys in terms of video and that sort of thing, but it's just like, it's 100%. It's just like homemade, just chop it together. I'm only just like moving a little bit away from iMovie, so I think I've always just loved it, and loved being able to think of different ways to present information. So I think it is a passion.
Yeah. Is it something, like, I sort of look at it like it's a way, I think you touched on it just then, it's sort of like a way of expressing who you are, in a sense. Like, I'm guessing you've got a love for it, but it's also sort of a bit of a way to show who Darcy Vescio is. Would that be right? Yeah,
I think so. I think that's definitely how I see being able to do design work and typography all the way through to playing sport. I think they're all different expressions of yourself. So I think with creating content, like, if you can do it in a way where you can express yourself and show different parts of yourself, and show hopefully like the layers to your personality or to the way you think, I think it can make for a really good piece. And I think people enjoy sort of seeing different sides of you. So yeah, that's sort of how I approach things.
Do you think that having something creative that you can work on outside of football has become more important as the journey's gone along? Like, do you find yourself enjoying it more and more?
Yeah, I think so. I think have definitely found that if I'm doing, say, if like football's sort of taking over and I'm not being able to do much creative work, like I feel like my football suffers and vice versa. Like I think as a person, like I feel like I'm most happy and I'm most balanced, I guess, when both are humming on either side, and I think they feed into each other. So yeah, I definitely feel like as footy's become more serious, I have needed to make sure that design continues to be a focus in an area that I can improve on. And I'm just really lucky to have opportunities to create content for different brands and that sort of thing. Like it's kind of, I see it as a real bonus because it's a nice way to, I guess, earn more money as well, and also just challenge yourself in trying to meet different briefs and see where you can push boundaries and that sort of thing.
I guess that's an important one as well. With those opportunities that probably get presented to you, how do you kind of decide on which ones you do take on board, and which ones you kind of pass on?
Yeah, good question. I think I will sit on it for a bit. Like when my manager Alex approaches me, she's very much like, it's totally up to you. Like, let me know how it sits, how it feels. If it feels a bit funny, then not worth doing it. And I always think like you want it to be something that you can proudly stand behind, and if it's a brand or whatever, you want it to be something that you'd be happy to do it ongoing. Like I kind of don't love doing once-off things unless it really I can find like a link between my own life and that sort of thing. I think you can sort of come on undone if you just like throwing yourself around left, right, and center, because you sort of, but for me at least, like I feel like I need to feel like it sits really comfortably, and I can clearly pinpoint why I've taken on that partnership or whatever. And I think it shows through the content, like whether you actually enjoy what you're doing and believe in like the product or the experience or whatever it is. Yeah, I think mostly gut feel, I guess, at the end of the day. But yeah, there are lots of things to consider as well.
I think that's so true. Like, if you're entirely passionate about what you're producing, it ends up being 10 times better in the long run than something that you're kind of half sold on.
Yeah.
I know when some ideas get presented to us in the office, we're a bit shady on them sometimes, but if we have buy-in, I think it just changes the whole dynamic of your thought process around it as well.
Yeah. And I think like over time, I definitely know, like working with my manager, like she's created, like I guess a space where brands can come in and she says like, this is how Darcy likes to work, or whichever girl she's talking about, this is how they like to work. If you think that works with you, then we can maybe make it work. But they're not going to just post, like a billboard or something on their feed, because it's just at the end of the day, it doesn't work for anyone. Like I feel a bit shit if I post that. They're not going to get good clicks because nobody wants to see that from me.
Yeah.
So it's sort of like, I think brands are getting it more and more that if you're not aligning with the right people and it doesn't feel natural, then it's just a bad time all round.
So true. On the flip side of that, and you don't have to name and shame directly, but have there ever been some particularly shady brands approach you with, I don't know, a terrible idea, or just something you were like, oh, maybe not?
Oh, I was really trying to think. I was trying to think hard and think if there's ever been something where I've just been like, I'm not doing that. But I feel like I might have been like protected from it reaching me, maybe. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sure Alex gets a lot of different requests for all the girls, and sometimes she's just like, that's not even getting close. Like, yeah, I can't really, unfortunately, like, I don't really think I've got any good, any good things from brands. Like, I think, like, you get some weird personal requests, Like I remember someone once messaged and was like, "Hey, I'm not a painter, but what if I paint you and like you enter the article prize?" And I was like, probably not. Like, probably not gonna happen.
Just some real creep DM sliding into your Instagram.
Yeah,
Let me paint
it's
you.
like no one would say yes to that, but
We
I
should
appreciate you
we should
asking.
turn this into its own segment. Is this are there any others? I'm genuinely curious now.
Creepy
It's alright if
DMs.
not. Maybe not creepy
Um,
DMs, but weird personal requests.
weird DM. Oh, I'd have to have a scroll through because yeah, I can't. I feel like I've blocked them, blocked
That's
them from my page and from my page.
Dramatic.
But no, people are really funny. Like a lot of the time, people will just reach out and be like, "Hey, this is really random, but can you do this?" Or, "Yeah, do you mind?" I get lots of like little birthday things, which is nice, but they're not creepy
Yeah.
at all. They're just nice.
Yeah, look, it's probably a good thing that you can't name a lot off the top of your head. I had
Yeah,
a question. I had a question. I apologize, it wasn't one we sent through to you, but I'm always really curious about building your own personal brand. And is it something that I guess in your early days, I guess coming onto the scene, was it something that it was a focus for you, or do you just have fun doing it? I guess like I'm always really intrigued. I think especially in Australia, when you think of athletes and building your own personal brands, yours is quite there's like a fair few serious things, but it's quite a comedy sort of approach, which I love. But yeah, was it a focus early on, or do you just enjoy, as you said, making content?
Yeah, I think I don't think I've really focused too hard on it. I think it's always like the same with like content for brands. It's like if it doesn't sit right or if it feels quite risky, it's sort of like assessing the risk in your own head. Like who would be offended by this? If it's someone like obviously if it's a minority group or something like that, like of course, like you're not going to post anything that would come off to offend anyone or make someone feel bad about being themselves.
Yeah.
But obviously, if it's going to offend someone who thinks they should be allowed to be racist or something like that, then they're worth offending. So I have little like risk assessment things I do in my head. I'm like, oh, how will the club feel about posting this? Like, would a sponsor be upset if I posted this? But most of the time it's, yeah, if I can explain myself and articulate why I would post that or why it's funny and not offensive, then I'll usually go for it. But in saying that, like my relationship with mostly Instagram, because that's my most sort of used platform, is definitely just posting when I feel like it. So I don't have a schedule, like, and I feel good, like happy to not have a schedule. I don't try to hit a certain amount of posts a week or anything. It's literally like if something comes up, something pops up, I'll post it. But I don't feel that pressure to be creating content, I guess. So, and I feel like that suits me quite well at the moment, and I'm probably lucky to be in that position.
That's I guess building off that a little bit. How do you find your inspiration, and like what do you do if you're in a bit of a creative block? Maybe like how do you find this creativity all the time?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess just like I don't know. I think you just observe things and like if you find something funny, you're like, well, will other people find that funny? Like maybe I should share that, or like, oh, has that idea been shown in that way? Yeah, I think I don't know. I guess it's just the way you look at things. Like, yeah, and having the ability to express that is a really big part of, I guess, being a creative. Like, that's probably just the different. Like, everyone sees things in different ways, but it's your ability to express that and show that to other people, and explore different ideas. So, yeah, I feel like, yeah, I keep just trying to create things that I think other people can relate to, other people might find funny. I know some things will get less likes than others because they're a little bit more obscure or a little bit silly but yeah, I think that's half the fun, just like pushing your own little boundaries and other people's boundaries in a good way.
Yeah, I think it's a great question, but I think it's also a very hard question to answer because I think it's almost like you can't answer it in a way, like you can't plan for it. Like using your Bunnings ad as an example, there's no way you can answer that you would have come up with that. That was just something that in the moment one of your friends got a job at Bunnings and you use that as a avenue for comedy, and you talked about improving your sort of animation skills on the moving the heads. Like I feel like it's just sort of built into the creatives, as you put it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just in the moment. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I get really excited when I have an idea and I'm holding that idea and like just forming it in my brain.
Yeah.
And like, and I just want to like put it out there, but I'm like, oh, like there's something missing. Like, I'll just sleep on it. And then you'll think of something else that sort of like brings it full circle or completes it. And then, I know you guys are on a different schedule in terms of working at a footy club. Like, you have to be hitting certain content every week. But yeah, I love it when there's just something random that you really want to put out there, but you just need to get the idea happening and figure out how to execute it. I love that feeling.
I think that's a really funny point as well, because patience is sometimes the most important part of creativity, because you're right, there's always that one little way that you can push it just a little bit more that's going to be like, oh, that's 10 times better.
Where if you just like, if I just think of an idea, I'll be like, just hold it for a sec, just like let it sit in your brain and let it fully form. Like, it's just a little seedling, like it needs to develop a little bit more and like get a little flower happening before you can like
We're getting deep on these explanations.
Yeah.
It's also on the flip side, if someone thinks, if you're not in the space maybe and someone thinks, oh, Barks is creative, he would have a great idea for this, and someone sort of is just like, think of an idea for this, you'd be really creative, and then you just can't on the spot because you're like, I really want to think of something really cool and might be funny, it might not be, but in that time you can't just do it. Like, it just happens in your brain when you don't want it to, or when you it's a funny one.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I find like at night sometimes ideas will come and I'll just that's so, I know that's like so cliche, like I've got my notebook beside my bed and I just like wake up sometimes the night and just like write it down.
I've heard far too many people say in the shower.
Shower's a good place.
I've heard a lot of people, I think in Twitter, the common thing that comes up is in the shower. I'm like, that's odd, but fair enough.
Yeah.
I think that's one of my most stressful things, is like when you're heading into a meeting and you know that they're expecting you to come up with like 10 ideas for something, and you're just sitting there going, I'm blank and I'm going to be blank for a long time. But at 3 a.m. this morning when I wake up, I'm going to have something.
Yeah, something will come. And I feel like sometimes you just have to get the shit out. Like, in terms of design, I'm like writing down things and like drawing things. I'm like, I know this is trash. Like, this is complete trash. But I literally have to put it down. So my brain's like, yes, that is trash. Like, let's move on. I'm thinking something good.
It's funny you say that. I was listening to another podcast yesterday actually about the importance of putting crap work out in the public. Just not only for your sake, but for the public's sake, to confirm it's crap and to work, like to work away from that. Or okay, so that didn't work.
Yeah, you're like, is it good though? Like, I think it's is it a vibe? And they're like, no. You're like, okay, yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. We can stop it there, Jules. But did you have anything else, Jules? Because I'm about to wrap it up, but I think it's been really insightful. Otherwise,
probably one, maybe just one more if you got time, Darcy. But like. Yeah. If you could have a dream collaboration with either any artist or brand or anything, any person that you admire, who or what would it be?
You can take a bit to think about this.
This isn't rapid fire.
We'll chop it.
That's really hard. Like, I really love like working with Nike. Like, I genuinely love that partnership we have. And I hope that grows into something bigger, because like I'd love to be able to work with other athletes as well. Because I obviously love sport, love the power of sport, and think that there's a really cool opportunity to be able to work with other athletes. So yeah, sort of when I don't know, maybe when I finish sport or not, I feel like that's the space I want to be in, like working with other athletes and like figuring out different ways of doing things. But yeah, I'm not really sure. Like, I don't know. Sorry,
okay.
I don't have a great.
I kind of threw you under the bus with that one, but I think there's definitely a space like for more creativity in like a lot of athletes promotions or brand endorsements. Taking a leaf out of your book, it doesn't always just have to be a picture of someone holding up a product. Like, it can always be something more, and maybe with some direction, that's where it will go to.
Yeah, I'll see what happens. Like, and I feel like, once people start, it'll be awesome. Just seeing people get more and more creative. So, be good.
I was actually
Watch this space. D-hole agency coming up.
might be best to shy away from that name. I was actually going to ask you about whether, obviously this space is probably what you want to get into after your career, but I didn't want to be like sort of a career hound of, right, Das, once your footy career's over, what are you going to do? But it's an interesting answer.
Wind it up. Yeah, well, no, but it's hard. Like, it's kind of hard to think of what that you want that balance to be between like your sporting career and like career after. Like, how far do you push? Because I know definitely like the space we're in right now, it's like a lot of girls do want to focus on footy, and that means a bit less time with career outside. But yeah, I don't know if that's even an answer to things, but it's finding that balance. I feel like I'm finding it more as I grow a bit older and wiser and have a bit of a better understanding of myself too.
Yeah, well, it's probably one of those things that you can never really know. You sort of know when you know, as stupid as that sounds. But no, it's been a really unique sort of opportunity, as Jules said at the start, to talk to someone on sort of both sides of the playing field, not to use stupid footy puns in there, but it's been terrific to get an insight into what goes on in your head and sort of your interests with graphic design and basically everything. So yeah, on behalf of myself and Jules, really appreciate your time, Das, or D-Hole, and thank you.
Thanks for having me. I'm gonna go back and have a listen to your other episodes, and I look forward to hearing more chats.
No, we appreciate it.